The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's sky like a silver needle against the blue morning. Captain Vextar stood on the bridge of the stellar cartographer, his green scales catching the light from the viewing screen. His yellow eyes studied the planet below with growing disappointment. "Another backward world," he said to his first officer, shaking his reptilian head. "Look at those crude rockets they use. Chemical fuel, can you believe it?" Commander Thane clicked his insect-like mandibles in agreement. His compound eyes reflected dozens of images of Earth's primitive cities. "The energy readings are pathetic. They barely have controlled fusion power. I've seen cave dwellers with better technology." The other alien crew members laughed at this joke. The bird-like avians ruffled their feathers in amusement, while the crystalline beings chimed like broken glass. They had done this many times before, arriving at primitive worlds and offering the locals a chance to join galactic civilization. On Earth, alarms were ringing in every major capital. President Martinez stood in the Situation Room in Washington, watching the alien ship through satellite feeds. Next to him, Ambassador Jinho Park straightened his black suit and checked his translation device. "Remember what we discussed?" whispered his aide, Min-Soo Kim. "Let them think we are simple and weak." "That should not be hard," Jinho replied with a small smile. "We have been practicing for 200 years. The first meeting happened 3 days later in the alien ship's main hall. The room was huge, with walls that seemed to be made of living metal. Strange lights floated in the air without any visible source. Captain Vextar sat on a throne that looked like it was carved from a single piece of black stone. The human delegation walked slowly into the room. Jinho led the group, followed by Min-Soo and several other officials. They wore simple Earth clothes and carried briefcases that looked old-fashioned next to the alien technology. "Welcome, primitive beings," Captain Vextar said through a translation device that made his voice sound like grinding metal. "We are the Galactic Confederation. We rule over 3,000 star systems and countless species." Jinho bowed politely. "We are honored by your visit, Great Captain. Earth welcomes you." The aliens whispered among themselves, finding the humans' formal politeness amusing. Commander Thane stepped forward, his 6 legs clicking on the metal floor. "Your species shows some promise," the insect commander said. "We have watched your world for several cycles. You have nuclear weapons, basic space travel, and simple computers. With proper guidance, you might become useful." "Useful how?" asked Min-Soo, pretending to be confused. "As junior members of our confederation," Captain Vextar explained, sounding bored. "We will give you some basic technology, better metals, improved energy sources, maybe even short-range space drives. In return, you give us mining rights to your asteroid belt and 3 of your moons." The human delegation exchanged glances. Jinho nodded slowly as if considering this generous offer. "This is a great honor," he said carefully, "but such an important decision requires consultation with our leadership. We must check our historical archives and speak with our elders." The aliens laughed again. Captain Vextar's eyes glowed with amusement. "Archives," he hissed. "What could a primitive species like yours have in your archives? Stories about discovering fire." "Our records go back quite far," Jinho replied quietly. "We like to study the past before making decisions about the future." Commander Thane waved one of his clawed hands dismissively. "Fine, take your time. We grant you 30 of your Earth days to make your decision, but do not keep us waiting too long. Other species would kill for such an opportunity." The meeting ended with formal pleasantries. As the humans prepared to leave, Captain Vextar called out to them. "Oh, and do not try anything foolish. Our weapons could turn your entire planet into space dust in minutes. We are being generous because we see potential in your species." Jinho bowed again. "We understand completely, Captain. Earth is grateful for your patience and wisdom." After the humans left, the alien crew relaxed. They had done this dance many times before. The pattern was always the same. Primitive species needed time to accept their obvious inferiority. "How long do you think before they surrender completely?" asked one of the avian officers, preening his blue feathers. 2 weeks, predicted Commander Thane. "It'd be less once they realize how outmatched they are." Captain Vextar studied the Earth through the viewing screen. Cities lit up the dark side of the planet like scattered gems. Look at them down there, thinking they matter. They do not even know that faster-than-light travel exists. Meanwhile, far below on Earth's surface, Jinho Park sat in a secure room deep underground. Ancient machinery hummed around him as massive vault doors began to open for the first time in centuries. "Contact Dr. Haewon Choi," he told Minsu. "Tell her it is time to open the archives." Minsu smiled. After 50,000 years of waiting, the children have finally come home. The aliens above continued their patrol of the solar system, completely unaware that they were being watched by sensors far more advanced than anything they possessed. The next 3 weeks passed like a carefully planned performance. Every day, the aliens sent shuttles down to Earth to study human civilization. Captain Vextar wanted to understand what kind of workers these humans would make once they joined the Confederation. "Show us your best technology," Commander Thane demanded during one visit to the Kennedy Space Center. His compound eyes reflected the massive rocket on the launch pad. "This is your most advanced spacecraft?" Dr. Sungmin Park, the Space Center director, nodded proudly. "Yes, this is our newest model. It can carry 6 people to our moon base and back." The aliens watched as the primitive rocket lifted off with a roar of chemical flames. Captain Vextar's scales rippled with what humans might have mistaken for laughter. "Fascinating," he said to his aide. "They still burn fuel to escape their gravity well. Like throwing rocks to reach the stars." Ambassador Ginho Park stood nearby, his face showing polite interest in the aliens' comments. Next to him, his aide Minsu Kim took careful notes on everything the visitors said and did. "Our methods may seem simple," Jinho said humbly, "but they work for our needs." "For now," agreed Commander Thane. "But wait until you see real starships, vessels that bend space itself to travel between worlds in days instead of years." The tour continued to other human facilities. The aliens visited nuclear power plants and laughed at the crude fusion reactors. They examined Earth's computers and were amazed that humans still use such slow processing systems. Everything they saw confirmed their belief that Earth was a backward world in need of guidance. "Your internet is interesting," admitted one of the avian officers during a visit to a data center. "But it moves information so slowly. Our quantum networks can send messages across the galaxy instantly." The human technicians listened with wide eyes, pretending to be impressed by these revelations. In reality, they were scanning the alien. Equipment with sensors far more advanced than anything their visitors possessed. Dr. Jamin Lee, Earth's elderly chief archivist, accompanied the diplomatic team to every meeting. The old man said very little, but his sharp eyes missed nothing. He carried an ancient leather briefcase that the aliens assumed contained primitive paper documents. "Your archivist seems very old," Captain Vextar observed during one dinner aboard the alien ship. "Does your species have such short lifespans?" "Dr. Lee has served Earth for many decades," Jinho replied carefully. "He remembers things that others have forgotten." The old man smiled quietly. "I keep track of old stories. Very old stories. Primitive oral traditions," Commander Thane clicked dismissively. "Once you join the Confederation, you will have access. 2 proper digital archives spanning millions of years." "That would be most educational," Dr. Lee said softly. The aliens grew more impatient as the days passed. They were used to primitive species begging to join the Confederation within hours of first contact. Earth's careful deliberation annoyed them. "What is taking so long?" Captain Vextar demanded during a meeting in the 10th day. "We have offered you technology beyond your wildest dreams. What more do you need to consider?" Jinho remained calm and diplomatic. "Great Captain, we must consult our historical records. Some decisions cannot be rushed." "Historical records?" The reptilian captain's eyes glowed with irritation. "What could your brief history possibly contain that would affect this decision?" "Our archives are more extensive than they appear," Dr. Lee spoke up quietly. "We have been keeping records for quite some time." The aliens exchanged glances. These humans were more bureaucratic than most primitive species. But their reaction was not entirely unexpected. Fear often made inferior beings act strangely. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Haewon Choi worked frantically in the hidden archive chambers. Massive quantum computers that had been dormant for centuries were slowly coming online. The air hummed with energy as systems older than human civilization began to activate. Status report, she called to her assistant, Dong Woo-yoon. Temporal locks are stable, he replied, monitoring displays that showed readings beyond current human science.
Ow.
The quantum seals are holding perfectly after all these years. The Galactic Monitoring Network still active. Every alien ship movement is being tracked by our sensor grid. They have no idea they are being watched. Dr. Choi nodded with satisfaction. The waiting was almost over. Soon the galaxy would remember who had built the hyperspace lanes and maintained the delicate balance of power for 50,000 years. Above ground, the diplomatic dance continued. The aliens grew more condescending with each passing day, while the humans maintained their humble facade. Captain Vextar began making veiled threats about what happened to species that refused Confederation membership. The galaxy can be dangerous. For worlds that stand alone, he warned during one meeting. Pirates, raiders, hostile empires, they all seek easy targets. We understand the risks, Jinho replied. That is why we must be certain of our decision. 5 more days, Commander Thane announced. Then we expect your answer. As the aliens returned to their ship that evening, Dr. Lee turned to Jinho. With a knowing smile, the children are growing impatient, he observed. Let them wait a little longer, Jinho replied. Dr. Choi needs time to prepare the revelation. After 50 millennia of hiding, we must do this perfectly. The old archivist nodded. The galaxy is about to remember its true history. Deep beneath the Colorado Mountains, Dr. Haewon Choi stood before doors that had not opened in 200 years. The massive vault entrance was made of materials that did not exist in any earthly periodic table. Strange symbols glowed softly, along its edges, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. Are you sure about this? Asked her assistant, Dong Woo-yoon. His hands shook as he operated the quantum scanners. Once we open the archives, there is no going back. Dr. Choi placed her palm on the central scanner. The machine read not just her fingerprints, but her genetic code, her brain patterns, and something deeper that modern science could barely understand. The galaxy has been waiting long enough, she said quietly. It is time for the truth. The doors opened with a sound like singing crystal. Beyond them stretched a chamber so vast that the far walls disappeared into darkness. Thousands of floating platforms held glowing crystals that contained more information than all Earth's computers combined. Dr. Choi's team followed her into the chamber with reverent steps. Song-woo Kim, the quantum archaeologist, whispered prayers in Korean as he saw the scope of what lay before them. Yoonji Park, the youngest member of the team, gasped as holographic displays began activating around them. Beginning full temporal scan, Dr. Choi announced. Her voice echoed strangely in the vast space. Initialize the galactic history matrices. The air filled with light as the archives came fully online. Holographic images appeared everywhere, showing star systems, alien worlds, and events that had happened millions of years ago. The team found themselves standing in the middle of galactic history itself. Look at this, breathed Young Ho Kong, pointing at a display showing a familiar star system, the Saurian homeworld 50,000 years ago. The hologram showed a swampy planet where primitive reptiles hunted in shallow waters. Above them, elegant ships moved through the sky like living things. The vessels were clearly human in design, but far more advanced than anything Earth had ever built openly. We were there, Dr. Choi said in amazement. We were guiding there. Evolution from the very beginning. Another display showed the birth of the Hive Collective. The insect beings that now ruled dozens of worlds had once been simple creatures living in underground colonies. Human scientists had carefully modified their genetics, giving them intelligence and the ability to work together on a massive scale. They were our helpers, Youngji realized. We created them to tend the agricultural worlds while we explored deeper into space. The archives revealed the true scope of humanity's ancient empire. At its height, humans had ruled not through conquest, but through careful guidance of younger species. They had built the hyperspace lanes that connected the galaxy, established the trade routes that brought prosperity to countless worlds. and created the delicate balance of power that prevented catastrophic wars. Why did we hide all this? Asked, staring at images of human cities that spanned entire continents on distant worlds, Dr. Choi activated another section of the archives. The holographic displays shifted to show darker images, fleets of warships, planets burning, entire star systems going dark. The Great War, she said grimly. 50,000 years ago, a faction of humans tried to use forbidden temporal weapons. They wanted to reshape the galaxy according to their vision, no matter the cost. The images showed the devastating conflict that followed. Human fought human across thousands of light years. Whole civilizations were caught in the crossfire. The younger species that humanity had guided watched in terror as their protectors nearly destroyed everything. The damage was beyond imagination. Dr. Choi continued. We realized that our power was too great, our knowledge too dangerous. So the surviving leaders made a terrible choice. Final images showed the Great Withdrawal. Human fleets disappeared from the galaxy, leaving behind only automated systems to maintain essential functions. Earth was chosen as a sanctuary world, its location hidden by technology that made it appear primitive to outside observers. We sealed ourselves away, Young Ho said in wonder. We gave up our empire to save the galaxy from our own mistakes. But we never stopped protecting, Dr. Choi pointed out. Look at this monitoring network. New displays showed the hidden truth about galactic civilization. Every major trade route was still maintained by ancient human systems. The stable hyperspace corridors that allowed faster-than-light travel existed only because human machines kept them open. The careful balance of power between different alien empires was maintained by subtle interventions from automated systems that no one remembered building. The Saurians think they discovered hyperspace travel. Yunji laughed despite herself. But they are just using roads we built for them. And the Confederation's mighty fleets, added Sangwoo, are flying ships based on designs we gave their ancestors. Dr. Choi nodded grimly. Every species in the galaxy owes its current success to infrastructure we created. But they have forgotten us completely. The quantum beacons throughout the galaxy had been monitoring conditions for millennia, waiting for the right moment. The displays showed green lights across all sectors. The galaxy was finally stable enough for humanity to reveal itself safely. Send the signal to Ambassador Park, Dr. Choi ordered. Tell him the waiting period is over. After 50,000 years of exile, humanity is ready to come home. As the message raced through quantum channels to the surface, the archives continued their revelation. The team spent hours learning about their true heritage, understanding at last why Earth had seemed so backward compared to its real capabilities. Above them, the alien visitors continued their arrogant inspection of primitive human technology, completely unaware that they were about to meet the architects of galactic civilization itself. Ambassador Jinho Park sat in his secure office beneath the United Nations building, reading the encrypted message from the archives on a screen that looked ordinary but was made from technology beyond current human understanding. His face remained calm as he absorbed the full truth of humanity's hidden past. Remarkable, he said to his aide, Min-Soo Kim, who stood beside him reading the same information. Our ancestors were even more careful than we imagined. The message from Dr. Haewon Choi contained thousands of years of galactic history compressed into quantum data streams. Ginho learned that the very conference room where he met with the aliens was built above a command center that had once coordinated the activities of millions of worlds. Look at this. Min-Soo pointed to a section of the report. The Saurian Empire's capital ships are using engine designs our people created 60,000 years ago, but they think they invented them. Ginho scrolled through more data. The Hive Collective's famous biotechnology was based on genetic templates that human scientists had developed. When the insect species was still learning to build simple tools, their greatest achievements were pale copies of humanity's forgotten gifts. And here, Jinho said, highlighting another section. The trade routes that connect the entire galaxy, every single hyperspace lane was mapped and stabilized by human engineers. The aliens are flying on roads we built for them. The report revealed the hidden truth about galactic civilization. What the aliens called their greatest technological achievements were actually the result of automated systems that humanity had left behind. Space stations that appeared derelict were actually maintenance facilities keeping the hyperspace network operational. Ancient ruins on dead worlds were monitoring posts that still watched over younger species. Dr. Jamin Lee entered the office carrying his old leather briefcase. The elderly archivist had spent the morning reviewing historical documents that predated most alien civilizations. "The irony is perfect," he said with a tired smile. "They are offering us membership in a civilization we designed ourselves." "What about their military strength?" Minsu asked. "Captain Vextar keeps threatening us with their advanced weapons." Dr. Lee opened his briefcase and pulled out what looked like an old paper map. When he unfolded it, the paper came alive with moving images showing the current positions of every Confederation fleet. "Their most powerful warships," he explained, "are equipped with weapons that our ancestors considered suitable for local police forces. The energy shields they are so proud of would not stop a single shot from our real defensive systems." Studied the tactical display. Hundreds of alien ships patrolled the galaxy, maintaining order and enforcing Confederation law. But the map showed something else. Thousands of human vessels hidden in dimensional pockets, waiting patiently for orders that had not come in 50 millennia. "We could have destroyed their entire civilization at any point," he realized. "Why? Did we let them grow so arrogant? Because that was the plan," Dr. Lee replied. "Our ancestors wanted the younger species to develop confidence and independence. They needed to believe they were the masters of their own destiny." The archives had revealed the careful psychology behind humanity's great withdrawal. By hiding their involvement, humans had allowed other species to take pride in their achievements. The Saurians believed they had conquered space through their own strength. The Hive Collective thought they had developed biotechnology through their own genius. But there were limits, Dr. Lee continued. Hidden safeguards built into every system. If any species became too aggressive or tried to develop weapons that could threaten galactic stability, automatic systems would intervene. The map showed several incidents over the past 1,000 years where alien civilizations had mysteriously lost crucial battles or suffered equipment failures at critical moments. What historians called random bad luck was actually humanity's hidden guardians maintaining the balance of power. "The Confederation itself exists because we allow it," Minsu said in amazement. "Their laws, their territories, their entire political structure, it all follows patterns our ancestors established." Jinho nodded. "And now they want to offer us junior membership in our own creation." The quantum communicator on his desk chimed. Softly, Captain Vextar's face appeared on the screen, his reptilian features showing irritation. "Ambassador Park," the alien captain said formally, "my patience grows thin. It has been 28 of your days. What is your decision?" "We are nearly ready to respond, Captain," Jinho replied politely. "Our archives have revealed some interesting historical information that affects our decision." "Historical information?" Captain Vextar's eyes glowed with annoyance. "What could your primitive past possibly contain that would change anything?" "You would be surprised," Dr. Lee said quietly from off-screen. "History has a way of repeating itself." The alien captain's scales rippled with what might have been laughter. "Very well. 2 more days, then we require your answer. Do not test our generosity further." The communication ended. Jinho turned to his companions with a slight smile. "Gentlemen," he said, "I think it is time to give the galaxy a history lesson." Dr. Lee folded his miraculous map and returned it to the briefcase. After 50,000 years of patience, 2 more days seems like nothing. Above them, the alien ship continued its patrol of Earth's solar system, completely unaware that they were being observed by sensors that had watched the birth and death of civilizations across the galaxy. The children were about to learn who their parents really were. The formal meeting took place in the Confederation ship's largest conference room. Captain Vextar sat at the head of a curved table made from polished metal that seemed to glow with its own light. Commander Thane stood beside him, his insect wings buzzing with impatience. The other alien officers filled the remaining seats, all watching the human delegation with barely hidden contempt. Ambassador Jinho Park entered with his usual calm dignity, followed by Minsu Kim and Dr. Jamin Lee, the elderly archivist, carried the same leather briefcase he had brought to every meeting, but today his eyes held a different light. Honorable representatives of the Galactic Confederation. Jinho began formally. Earth has reached its decision regarding your generous offer of junior membership. Captain Vextar leaned forward, his yellow eyes gleaming with satisfaction. After 30 days of waiting, these primitive humans would finally accept their proper place in the galactic order. We appreciate the opportunity, Jinho continued. But Earth must respectfully decline junior membership in the Confederation. The silence that followed was complete. Commander Thane's mandibles clicked in confusion. The bird-like avians ruffled their feathers in surprise. Captain Vextar's scales changed color from green to an angry red. Decline? The reptilian captain hissed. Perhaps you do not understand what you are refusing. We offer you protection, technology, and a place among civilized species. We understand perfectly, Jinho replied calmly. However, we would like to discuss a different arrangement. A senior partnership between equals. The aliens erupted in laughter. Commander Thane's clicking became so rapid it sounded like machine gun fire. One of the crystalline beings chimed with amusement until the sound filled the entire room. Senior partnership. Captain Vextar stood up, his full height making him tower over the seated humans. Your species has not even achieved faster-than-light travel. You burn chemicals to reach your own moon. What could you possibly offer as equals? More than you might think, Dr. Lee said quietly. He opened his briefcase and removed what appeared to be a simple metal device, no larger than his hand. Is that supposed to impress us? Commander Thane scoffed. Primitive electronics? Dr. Lee looked at Jinho, who nodded once. The old archivist pressed a single button on the device. Throughout the galaxy, quantum beacons that had slept for 50,000 years suddenly awakened. The effect was immediate and visible on every sensor in the Confederation ship. What is happening? Captain Vextar demanded, staring at displays that showed impossible readings across all frequencies. Space itself seemed to shimmer around them. The carefully maintained hyperspace lanes that connected the galaxy began shifting into new configurations of elegant efficiency. Ancient structures that had appeared as dead ruins for millennia started broadcasting identification signals in languages that predated known civilization. Computer Commander Thane called out in panic. Explain these readings. Unknown energy signatures detected throughout the galaxy, the ship's artificial intelligence replied. Massive structures coming online. Technology level. Unable to determine exceeds all known parameters. On the main viewing screen, the aliens watched in growing horror as their understanding of the galaxy crumbled. Hidden space stations phased into normal dimensions, their designs so advanced they seemed like living things. The hyperspace network they had used for thousands of years revealed itself as an artificial construct of unimaginable sophistication. This is impossible, Captain Vextar whispered. Where did all this come from? It was always there, Jinho explained gently. You just could not see it. The ship's sensors screamed new warnings as human vessels began emerging from dimensional pockets throughout the solar system. But these were not the crude chemical rockets the aliens had observed. These ships moved like poetry, their hulls seeming to bend light around them as they flowed through space without visible propulsion. The energy signatures, Commander Thane said in a voice barely above a whisper. They are beyond anything in our databases. Dr. Lee stepped forward, his elderly appearance somehow more dignified than threatening. 50,000 years ago, the species you call human ruled this galaxy. It's not through conquest, but through careful guidance of younger civilizations. Younger civilizations? Captain Vextar's voice cracked. Your species, the Saurians, were primitive reptiles hunting in swamps when human scientists helped guide your evolution. The Hive Collective were simple insects until we gave them intelligence and purpose. Every major species in the Confederation developed under human protection. The main display shifted to show historical records. Images of Saurian homeworld millions of years ago, with elegant human ships watching over the developing civilization, the birth of the Hive Collective, carefully guided by human geneticists, the establishment of trade routes and hyperspace lanes by human engineers. We built the infrastructure you use, Jinho continued. The hyperspace lanes, the stable wormholes, the energy networks that power your worlds, all of it was created by human technology and maintained by our automated systems. But why hide? Asked one of the avian officers, his voice trembling. Because we nearly destroyed everything, Dr. Lee replied sadly. A civil war among humans almost tore the galaxy apart. We chose exile over extinction, yours and ours. We withdrew to Earth and let the galaxy heal. Captain Vexstar slumped back into his chair, his proud bearing completely gone. You are saying we are the primitives? You are children, Jinho? Corrected gently. All of you. We have watched over you, protected you, and waited for the right moment to reveal ourselves again. Through the viewing screen, they could see dozens of human ships taking positions around the Confederation vessel. Not threatening, but clearly demonstrating capabilities that made alien technology look like stone tools. What happens now? Asked Commander Thane. Ginho smiled warmly. Now we rebuild together. The galaxy is stable enough for humanity to take its proper place again. But this time, we will do it openly, as partners, rather than hidden guardians. The aliens sat in stunned silence as the truth settled over them. They had not discovered a primitive world ready for conquest. They had awakened the sleeping, architects of galactic civilization itself.